Hi there, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and today I'm breaking down the Praxis Elementary Education Multiple Subjects exam, and I'm going to be walking you through the blueprint and test specifications so you know exactly what is on the exam and what is expected of you on test day. Let's get started. Okay, so you know, and I go over this every time, that if you are studying for the exam, the first thing you're going to want to do is look up the exam blueprint and test specification. And if you're taking a Praxis exam, you're in luck because they have the most comprehensive blueprint and test specifications I've ever seen from any major exam. They have a huge study companion with lots of information and practice questions and detailed answer explanations that will really help you on the exam. And I'm going to show you how to locate it and how to use it the best you can for this exam. So what you're going to want to do is go on over to the ETS Praxis website. You can see the URL is here, and I'll put this in the description for you. Now, when I go over to the preparation materials page on the ETS website for Praxis, you simply click here, select Praxis test by name, go down, and today we're talking about Elementary Education Multiple Subjects 5001. This particular test has 4 subtests. It has reading and language arts, it has math, then social science and science. It's very, very similar to the FTCE K6 exam. It tests the same subtest as the FTCE K6. There is a little bit of difference on this exam, but both blueprints and both test specs will help you with both exams. The one thing I really like a lot about the ETS website is they have, look at all of these study resources you have here. Now, here they have the paid stuff. You can pay for some practice tests there. But what's really good is this study companion here. Let me pull this up for you. So when you pull up the study companion, you're going to want to download it to your computer. I like to save it to my desktop because then it's in, a PDF reader and I can easily move through the pages over here. So you can see that this is the Praxis Study Companion. 5001 means the entire test, the whole elementary education, multiple subjects. And when we talk about multiple subject, we're talking about these 4 subtests here. And I mentioned it before, I mentioned them. It is reading and language arts, math, social science, and science. And you can see here that reading and language arts is test number 5002, math is 5003, social science or social studies is 5004, and science is 5005. So the whole test itself is 5001, but each subtest in order goes 5002, 3, 4, and 5. Now, you can see that a lot like the FTCE K6 test, the reading and language arts is the biggest part of this exam. And again, that's because if you're an elementary ed teacher, you are teaching all of these subject areas, but you are really focusing on reading as an elementary ed teacher. Reading is fundamental for all of these subject areas. And so your state probably wants to make sure you're very good in that content category. So reading and language arts is going to be the bulk of the test. And you can see that it's 90 minutes just for reading and language arts. The other 3 subtests, math, social science, and science here, they're between 60 and 65 minutes. So reading and language arts, definitely the biggest. And you can see there are more questions on the reading and language arts. There are 80 questions there as opposed to 50 to 60 questions in the other content categories. So you have 4 hours and 25 minutes to take the exam, and these are tested separately. So you take one reading and language arts test, then a math test, then a social studies test, then a science test. They're in 4 sections. So it's a big exam. So make sure when you are allotted a break, you take the break, get up from your computer, walk to the bathroom, get a sip of water. I always recommend taking your scheduled breaks when they are provided. Now, as we move down through the study companion, I like to showcase how in-depth this study companion is. So you can see this is for the reading and language arts section. This is subtest 5002. And you can see that it's broken down into 2 main content categories. We have reading, which is a huge part of the exam. And then together we have writing, speaking, and listening. Now, reading is going to be the biggest part of this exam because that is, arguably the most important part. And so as you move through the test specifications, notice how detailed all of this information is. Now, let me tell you, all of this information that I just highlighted there is what is on the test. The language, the concepts, the way it's worded, all of that is on the exam. So not only should you read through this and really have an understanding of the good words and phrases that are used in this test specification, you should also understand what they're talking about here. So for example, number 2 here, understands the role of phonics word analysis in literacy development. Well, you need to understand what that means as a K-6 elementary ed teacher. Now, we certainly have this all laid out in our publication and our online sources, but you can also do your own research and kind of look to the internet for information in this area. And you can see underneath that, it has all the supporting skills underneath there. So the importance of phonics, common letter sound correspondence, high frequency sight words, all of that goes under this, main area number 2, the role of phonics. And as you move through, you've got literature and informational texts here. Understanding all of this information is going to help you on that reading and language arts test. And I love how detailed this is. Don't be overwhelmed by the information. Be happy all that information is there, because a lot of other blueprints don't provide you with this much information. So I think they're doing you a really good thing here and helping you, because it lays out everything you need to know. Now, as you keep scrolling through, you go all the way through each and every section of the exam, and it gives you a very thorough analysis of that. Now, as we move down into the math subtest, that's the second section of the exam, 5003, and you can see this is broken up into 3 main categories. You have numbers and operations, algebraic thinking, and then they clump together geometry, measurement data, stats, and probability. So you can see that the biggest bulk of the bulk of the test is 40% here, and that's numbers and operations. And that's because it's a K-6 exam, and that's the bulk of K-6 instruction is numbers and operations. Now, don't underestimate the elementary education math subtest. This one is a tough one. While it is elementary ed, there are some concepts on this test that are really tough. So make sure you brush up on your math skills. As we move through the specifications for this particular test, you can see we've got place value system. And then under that, they have these specific skills you're going to need to know. And then we have order of operations and rational numbers, and then very, very specific information here. So make sure you are aware of all of this information and you know how to do all of this for the math. Now, there are some sample questions we will go over in just a second, but these are the specs for the math exam. And as we move through, we get to social studies 5004. You can see that this subtest is broken up into 3 main content categories. And like I always say, social science is usually broken up by history. Of course, there's going to be some government and citizenship, civics, political science. Then this test has geography, anthropology, and sociology lumped together. And then in the third one, they have world history and economics together. But notice that the same concepts we talk about in social science are laid out here. History, civics, geography, economics. And with history, you're going to have a little bit of U.S. history and you're going to have a little bit of world history. So make sure you're prepared for that. And you can see that the bulk of the test is history, government, and citizenship. So U.S. history, civics, and political science is going to be 45% of the test, but you're going to want to pay attention to all content categories. And as we move through, the coolest part about this blueprint is that it gives you, look at all this. Look at D here, knows about 20th century developments, and then it gives you assembly line, space age. It gives you specific examples in there. Remember, if you see examples in parentheses on the test specification, it's probably going to be shown on the exam. So definitely pay attention to that. You scroll down here, you can see geography and anthropology. We've got, knows the world in spatial terms, understands human systems, understanding how to interpret the past, cultural backgrounds. It's all kind of lumped together there with anthropology. And then, of course, world history and economics. We've got major contributions of ancient civilizations, basic concepts of economics, understands, populations, resources, technology. That's all going to fall under world history and econ. So you're going to want to take a look at these detailed specifications as well, because it will help you study for the exam and know what subjects are on there. Social science is huge. There are so many things that happened in history and geography and things like that. This kind of narrows the focus and shows you exactly what you're responsible for on the test. And finally, the last portion of the test is the science subtest. You can see that this is broken up into 3 main portions. We have earth science, which is going to be earth and space, the sun, the moon, all of that. But it's also going to be the crust of the earth, the lithosphere, volcanoes, mountains, earthquakes, tectonic plates. Then you have life science. That's going to be all about the cells and ecosystems and animals and things like that. Then you have the physical science, and that's going to be your physics. So things like energy, circuits, friction, things like that are going to be part of the physical science. And as we move through, the science test specs are very important too, because it narrows your focus. Look at all these examples they give you in the science. We have structure and properties of solid earth, hydrosphere, atmosphere. You're going to want to know what the hydrosphere is. You're going to want to know exactly what the atmosphere is. You can see here in C, origin of the earth, paleontology, rock record. They give you really good examples here to focus. You can see here under life science, letter F, interdependence of organisms, ecosystems, populations, and communities. And then over here in physical science, we have forces of motion, Newton's law, electricity, magnetism, sound. All of that falls under physical science. Now, we, in our book and in our courses, go into all of this in detail. We make sure we cover every single section. But if you're kind of studying on your own and you're not sure what to do, start here and start looking up those concepts and make sure whatever study materials you use, they cover all of the subtests and their specific content categories, and even more, the skills under those content categories, so that you're prepared for the exam. Now, the other thing that I love about the Praxis Elementary Education Study Companion is that it has amazing test questions. These test questions are really good. They're a little bit difficult. They're not too easy. They are definitely taken from their exam. ETS writes the test. So these sample items are going to look a lot like the test, right? So that's really good. And then what they have that I love is the answer explanations. You can see that they go in and they tell you even why other answer choices are incorrect. So we have the answer explanations, which you don't always get in many of the test specifications for other companies. They lay them all out here and even tell you why, letter C is correct and why all the other letters are incorrect. So really good information in the answer choices and the answer explanations. All of this right here is more information for you to take a look at and study. Answer explanations have a lot of information in them that help you pass the exam. So don't skip over the explanations, even if you get it correct, because there are other elements of the answer explanation that will help you on the test. And of course, they have that for each content category and each subtest. You can see this is the math, and this is a slope problem right here. Y equals negative 8x plus 4. This is slope intercept, which gives a lot of people heartburn because that's really hard for elementary ed. So you're definitely going to want to brush up on your math. Again, we cover this in depth in our courses, but if you're working on your own or looking for study material, make sure they cover everything here. And they've got great information. And then, of course, look how detailed the answer explanations are here. They really get into it and show you what's going on. I mean, it's pages and pages of answer explanations. Then you've got social science, awesome questions with graphs, answer explanations, and then science, pictures, graphs, really good items here. And then finally, the answer explanations. Now, another really fabulous thing that they have in this study companion towards the end, and I'm on page 44 here, they have, all of this. This is more information. Look at all of these concepts. This is really for my students who like to make Quizlets and flashcards. Look at all these concepts they have in the back here. They have reading and language arts study topics. This is fantastic. They go in and they pull out all the one-word answers, and you can use this to make your flashcards. I love this. This right here is a good words list. This has got everything you need to know for the exam. Then they have discussion topics. Here's a little scenario here. There's just so much good information here. As we go through, there's more examples. I love this. You can see here, they've got, examples of student writing. There's just so much going on here. Scrolling down some more, we've got, basic number systems. Here they lay it out for you, what that looks like in math. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more specific test specification. I mean, it's fantastic. And then you get into, geography and social studies here. Great topics. Look at here how specific it is. Uses of geography. And then it has, the political situations in Korea in the 1940s and 50s and Vietnam in the 1960s. I mean, that could come up on the test. That's how specific this is. And then finally, scrolling down to science, you can see that they have it here for science. And they have awesome, just one word information sources here that you can make flashcards for. Also, discussion areas in life science. Look at these questions right here. If you can answer these questions, you're going to pass the science exam. So they have laid out everything for you here just in this blueprint and test specification. So if you're tight on funds and you don't want to spend $100 on a course or $30 on a book, this right here will help you. Use this with Google and you're good to go. Fantastic resource. Now, let me just show you a couple other resources they have here on the ETS website. Notice that they have study resources here. And if you click this, this is a Word document. You can open it and you can see that this is for reading and language arts. And you can see these are all the different sub-skills. Notice that they even have links here that will take you to areas that talk about this particular concept assessed on the exam. And then they have all of these links here. I mean, they've set it up for you. This is fantastic. In fact, I look through all of this before I do my webinars. Look at here. Lots of people have questions about parallel structure. Right here, understands characteristics of effective writing. Look at all this grammar here that you can take a look at. And all of these are links. You can click those links and it will take you out here to Khan Academy to help you with, different things, different examples. So it is a great resource. This is fantastic. So you have all kinds of links here through Khan Academy. They've partnered with Khan Academy. We love Khan Academy. We use Khan Academy all the time. They're fantastic. So definitely use this resource. And you can see they don't just have that for, the reading and language arts. They have it for math. They have it for social science. They have it for science. All of that's here. And then they have this really cool study plan section where you just download the study plan. And you can see that they have questions here. How well do I know the content? Scale 1 to 5. What resources? Where can I find it? For people who like to plan out their studies and people who love to use spreadsheets and stuff, this is awesome for you. If you're not one of those people who likes to use tables like this, just go through that blueprint, go through those test questions, go through those answer explanations, and will help you tremendously on the exam. Thank you so much for watching today. Hope that clears things up for you for the elementary education multiple subjects test by Praxis. Remember, use their study companion. It is such an amazing resource and it's free and it has everything you need for the exam. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notifications button so you are notified when we upload new content. Please tell your friends about this YouTube channel if you find it helpful. And in the comments below, feel free to ask questions or even give us ideas on new things to film. Everything that I talked about today will be in the description below. Have an awesome day, and thank you so much for watching.